What's going on? Hey, Friday. Hopefully, we just had a good discussion on what happened the day before, and we'll get into this. Chapter 14. I'm hoping, right? I hope you like this. I think it's good. I mean, it's probably better if I'm actually reading in class, but this way, at least everybody gets to see the video, the lesson or whatever the reading. If you're at home still, as people we get some people back and then some people have to go away. So at least this way, if you miss a day, you can go back and read it, all that stuff. So let's get into a little bit of chapter 14 here. The last thing we read, well, we already talked about it, right? They had the bump. Today, it's going to get even better. Don't want to spoil too much, but she actually has to go into Agnotes for some reason. So we'll get to that in just a minute. So let's start let's just start reading. Ready here, chapter 14. The rest of the night is a mess. Immediately, every poster in every store window, every stop sign, every TV in every house I deliver is showing me a truck crashing into Agnotes. It's like each object that is created to communicate any sort of visual message is coming alive, screaming at me to do something, to warn the victims. They won't let up. Top of the next column. I can't concentrate on my orders. The Traverse apartment fiasco put me way behind, and customers start calling to complain. Dad is over anxious and fidgety every time I drive up. Trey's trying to calm me down on the phone, but I can't talk to him and drive on snow at the same time. So I just give up. I can't tell him what's wrong when he asks, even though I really wish I could. Getting a massive headache. Now, maybe we should pause here for a second because it has been mentioned. I got to call them out for a second. Class B, yes, Class B, second class of the day. I should mention them. Tyler, Mason, they're on to something. I think it was actually Tyler that came up with this, but they're often kind of early when things happen. But you got to give him credit. So if you're in Class B, you've already heard this. But he made the connection, Tyler did, between the dad and Jules. We know that. There have been a lot. But maybe the reason that the dad always in his room, maybe he had the same sort of visions. Maybe he keeps having them. Maybe he had them and he didn't do anything. So now he has like tremendous guilt about it. Okay, I just think it was got to give Tyler credit. And if you're at home, I want you to hear that. So I don't know. Maybe there is something to that. And I know he didn't read ahead because like it's impossible. We don't have the papers anymore. I'm trying to save paper here. All right, on the second column, I will right there. Yeah, she's got a massive headache. Maybe that's the dad has like a ton of headaches or something like that. When the marquee at the Park Theater blinks a fluorescent picture of the crash for the entire 30 seconds, I'm stuck at the stoplight nearby. I think I'm going to lose it. This weird fear churns in my chest, and I can feel it, a flutter there. Like my heart is racing, trying to urge me to go, go, go. Stop it, I scream from the driver's seat. I pound the steering wheel with my gloved hands. Just stop. I mean, definitely doesn't sound like she is in a good place mentally right now. But it doesn't stop. It gets worse. Every window in every house I pass has the scene plastered over it. Every poster on every telephone pole has changed its picture from whatever lost pet it was in search of to the explosion. I have to stop several times just to get a grip and figure out where the hell I'm going. I start lagging even further behind until it's all just so hopeless. With one pizza to go, I can't take it anymore because maybe all this bombardment means the crash is happening right now, tonight. Somehow it'll be my fault. Instead of delivering it, I turn down the street and head to Ignatis. So maybe we should pause right there, but that is going to complicate things for Jules in a number of different ways. So maybe we'll pause. She's actually going to drive. I don't want to say too much. Let's pause. Like I always say, very intelligent people in here. And you often come up with things I don't even think of. So it actually helps me read the story as well. All right, back to the story. We were somewhere right there after those three dots. The building is still standing there, and there's plenty of parking out front. Top of the next column. It's late, almost 11. I call Trey and tell his voicemail that I'm fine. Tell him that I have to make an extra stop and not to worry. All the while watching shadows of the Ignati staff move from room to room through the front window. It's funny, in a not at all funny sort of way. This is the one window that doesn't have the explosion plastered all over it. For a moment, watching the peaceful movement inside, and for once not being bombarded with hyper explosions at every turn, I talk myself back out of it. I think maybe I need more sleep. Maybe I just need to, I don't know, talk to somebody about this vision, a professional. The thought of telling someone what's been happening scares me to death. Imagine how they'd look at me. Imagine them pushing a panic button under their desk to summon security, or telling me that they're taking me to get a Coke, but really they're delivering me to doctors with white coats who will grab me and bring me to some asylum where they'll stick electrodes or whatever on my temples and armpits and do weird testing and shave my head and crap like that. And I'll have a toothless roommate who is seriously insane and who wants to kill me. I feel my throat tighten and burn as tears run down the back of it instead of down my cheeks. I sit outside Ignati's and give myself a pep talk. What's the worst thing that could happen if I go inside and talk to Sawyer? In my mind, I list them. She loves lists, doesn't she? Top of the next column. 5 bad things that could happen. Maybe in our little discussion we just had, we came up with a couple of these. 1, I go in and tell Sawyer, and he thinks I'm insane and tells everybody my life is over. That sounds pretty bad. 2, Sawyer's parents shoot me dead on sight. Not a bad option at this point, actually, now that I think about it. 3, the whole blanking crash happens and it explodes while I'm inside. 4, that's really all I can think of at this point because of all the panic and such. 5, as if 3 things weren't bad enough. My phone rings while I'm sitting there, and it's Trey. I squeeze my eyes shut and take a breath, then turn off the phone and shove it into my pocket. I look over at the last delivery, growing cold on the seat next to me. Sorry, Mrs. Rodriguez, I say. I hope you don't stay up too late waiting for it. I wonder idly what my father will do when I get back home after not delivering it. It's weird how little I care about that now. Finally, I grab the handle, shove the car door open. I step out into the slush, close the door softly behind me, then walk stoically towards Ignati's front door. Stoically. We should probably talk about that. That might be a new word for some people. Stoically. Stoically. It's a good word to know. Not sure if it's like the best. Oh, wait, did it just come up? Oh. I'm not sure if it's the best way to describe what she's doing now, as I'm kind of messing with this. I think I just stoically right there. Enduring pain and hardship without showing one's feelings or complaining. He taught a stoic acceptance of suffering. So I guess it's like when you got a lot on your mind, but you don't let it out stoically. Pensive would be another adjective, meaning like you could have like a pensive face, like you're thinking about something. It's kind of very similar there. We're gonna delete that. Yeah, delete it. All right. Excuse me. This would probably be a good place for me to get a drink of water. And this would be a good place for us to stop. That would be like a great cliffhanger. If some of you, I think maybe half the class maybe, is interested in reading, you're probably thinking, no, I don't want to stop. But then the other half of you are probably, I don't care. Stop if you want. This would be a good place right before she goes into the restaurant. But let's push on. Got another chapter in us. We've only been reading for 9 minutes and 40 seconds. I think we got about 10 more minutes left. Hopefully that sounds appealing to you. 15. A little bell jingles when I open the door, and a beautiful, plump, middle-aged woman looks up from behind the cash wrap. We're just closing down the kitchen. she says apologetically, and then she narrows her eyes and stares at the DeMarco's Pizzeria logo on my hat. Her voice turns cold. Can I help you? Is Sawyer here? She doesn't answer at first. Maybe she's trying to think of an excuse. Top of the next column. I'll check, she says finally. She goes to the nearby swinging door and opens it a crack, never taking her eyes off me. Sawyer, she calls out. Yeah, Ma? Okay, so for the first time we learn that that's his mom. I hear, and I look down at the carpet. What the hell am I doing? There's a young lady out here to see you. He doesn't say anything. I imagine him pausing, wondering what amazing babe it could possibly be coming by to see him, picturing how disappointed he'll be to see me. He comes out, slides past his mother, his eyes open in alarm when he sees me, and he comes over. What are you doing here? He whispers. He looks over his shoulder at Miss Ignotti, who is watching us very closely. I have something to tell you. It's really important, I say. Couldn't wait until school, he asks. Incredulous? Oh, incredulous. That's a good word to know right there. Maybe we can pause, stop. That's a good word to know. I think it's a hard word right there. You had to come here? And now I start doubting myself again, but then I glance outside and see snow falling. Across the street, the walk sign blinks an exploding truck. It's now or possibly never. It can't wait, I say simply, and look up at him. The alarm in his eyes turn to concern. He keeps his voice low. Let's step outside. He looks over his shoulder again at his mother, says gruffly, I'll be right back. I don't look at her. I don't want to see what she's thinking. I don't want to know the degrading thoughts she has about me since before I was born. I reach for the door handle and go outside. Sawyer follows me. When the door closes, he keeps his back to the restaurant. What the hell, Jules? There's anger in his voice. You can't just show up here. Not wearing that. Not at all. I can understand why he's upset. I don't know exactly what sort of mess I just put him in, but I can imagine the scenario in reverse. And it makes me cringe. So the scenario in reverse, if he showed up to her restaurant wearing an Ignati's hat, probably wouldn't go well. I didn't even think about the hat. Maybe I should have called. But he was on deliveries tonight, so that wouldn't have helped. I don't have a cell number. It'd be the same mess. I take a deep breath. Look, Sawyer, I'm sorry to do this to you. I know I'm probably causing a problem. But here's the thing. I pull off my cap and comb my fingers through my hair, trying to think. When I don't continue, he folds his arms against the cold and shifts his weight. Well, he says, after a moment, kind of cold out here. I look at the walk sign once more to gather strength, and then sigh and close my eyes, remembering the scene in my mind, frame by frame, landing on Sawyer's dead face. And I look back at him, into his eyes. You see, I say, and it sounds very grown up in my ears. What? He says, but the edge in his voice is fading. Oh, crap. What was I thinking? What am I supposed to say here? So again, that's in italics right there. So she's not saying that out loud. We got some quotes here. She is saying that part out loud. I'm worried about your restaurant. I have a weird feeling. Top of the next column. Like something bad is going to happen to you. So again, she doesn't say that out loud, but to you. In my best case scenario, this is where he thanks me, gathers me into his strong arms, and his face hovers near mine, and we kiss for the first time. Yeah, she is delusional, isn't she? That's not going to happen. In my probable case scenario, this is where he calls me a nut job and tells me to go away. In my worst case scenario, this is where the restaurant explodes and I'm the one in the body bags. None of those three things happen. Sawyer just stares at me for a minute, and then his voice comes out cold. Is your father going to sabotage us? What? I exclaim. No. Sawyer. He pulls out his phone. Son of a bee, he mutters. What are you doing? I ask, grabbing his arm. No, listen to me. He pauses. Then what? You delivering a warning from him or a threat? Oh my God, I say. This is not happening. It's neither one, Sawyer. I'm saying everything all wrong. What is it then? What's going on? Is he suing us? He doesn't stand a chance, you know. Sawyer, I say, nothing is making sense. Stop. Just hold on a second. This has nothing to do with my family. I have this vision thing. I trail off. It sounds absolutely ridiculous saying it out loud. Top of the next column. What? He looks at me like I've lost my marbles, but now I'm committed. I keep seeing a vision, I say, trying to sound authoritative and not insane. Over and over. You have to believe me, Sawyer. Just listen, please. He stops fingering his phone, gently pulls his arm away from my grasp, and takes a step away from me. A vision, he says sarcastically. My heart sinks. I look away. In the window of the apartment across the street, I watch the scene and explain it as it happens. Yes, I say in a quiet voice. It's snowing pretty hard. A snowplow comes careening over the curb into your back parking lot. It hits the restaurant. There's a huge explosion. I turn back to him. People die. I close my lips. You, Sawyer, you die. He doesn't react, waiting for more. Obviously, I'm aware that I sound crazy. I say evenly, realizing my life is over now. I can't explain why it's happening. I don't ever have visions otherwise, and I don't think I'm insane. I just keep seeing this on billboards and TVs, stop signs, and I trail off and I face him once more, trying to keep my stupid quivering lip from betraying me. I just felt like I'd tell you, because if I didn't, and something happened to you, your restaurant, I wouldn't be able to forgive myself. And by the way, I love you. He stands there a long moment, his eyes narrowed, snow falling and sticking to his hair and lashes. He blinks the flakes away. Look, I say. I make my voice sound clinical now to keep myself from losing it. Top of the next column. I never expected you to believe me. I just had to say something. For me. And suddenly I know it's over and I've done my job and that's all I have. I nod once very quickly and add, that's it. As if to signal an end to the insanity, and then turn away and walk to my car. He doesn't stop me. I get in, start it up, letting the windshield wipers take care of the snow and the defroster clear up the steamy glass caused by the cooling pizza. After a while, I pray for my door to magically open, for him to come after me. But I'm so afraid to look. Finally, when I start to appear either desperate or suspicious from sitting there so long, I pull out of the parking spot and dare to look back. He's still standing outside, watching me go. Gathered at the storefront window now and peering out at me are Sawyer's mother and two men. Uh-oh, maybe there was trouble. So that's why she felt like she needed some bodyguards there. Next to her is a man I recognize as Sawyer's father. And next to him is an elderly, mustachioed man. That probably, you know what that means? Mustachioed? Even if like you've never seen that before. Elderly, mustachioed man. And is all I can read, I promise. And as all the thoughts of what I've just done numb my brain, I realize that the old gentleman standing there must be the infamous Mr. Fortuno Edgati. What about infamous? Infamous. We know that word. It's a good word to know. It's a good word to know. The man whose caricatured face adorns the Agnotti sauce label. The man who stole our family's recipe and drove my grandfather to his grave. Good place for us to stop. Chapter 16. Yeah. Good. All right. So hopefully we talked about all the hard words that were there. I think there was one, caricatured. Maybe we should talk about that. Caricatured just means like a cartoon. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed it.